Be prepared for compliance. There's a quote which says that by failing to prepare, you are indeed preparing to fail. So if you're not prepared for corporate tax compliance or implementation now, you are heading towards preparing to fail. So it's always important to comply with it and prepare in advance. How the preparation can be done? High-level impact assessment can be done by looking at your structure of the organization and the group. Detailed analysis can be done after coming up with this high-level bias. And the corporate tax can be implemented once the other rules also be released. And then once the implementation is done, post-implementation, what are the adjustments can be done? So this is how we can, if you want us to analyze and implement the corporate tax, can be done by us. What are the important areas to be looked at? Most of them we've already looked at it. Look at the structure of the group and organization and make sure that that is in line with the corporate tax and you are getting maximum benefit out of that without avoiding any rules or not without breaching any rules. If you have any related parties, the connected persons, you make sure that you comply with all this. We have seen all this documentation requirement and all. So you need to make sure that you have it in place. This particular area, the related party and connected persons, if you have entities outside UAE, it is going to play a vital role. And the documentation requirements are huge, and you need to make sure that you're complying with that. We can provide services on this also. We have a specialized team on this transfer pricing. If any of you has got requirement for this. You need to look at the cash flow arrangements, profitability, and all those things you need to look at. In the books of accounts also, what are the changes that are required to comply with or to be ready with the compliance of corporate tax? The main thing is that you need to look at your chart of accounts. See, make sure that you have enough ledgers or accounts being maintained to be able to fit in the requirement of corporate tax, so that when you look at the books of accounts at the end of the year, you have clear records, clear accounts. Wherever you require or you need to make adjustments to be able to file the corporate tax, you should be able to provide that results. So that's why careful observation of the transaction, chart of accounts, and transaction entry by the accounts team should be looked at and plan it so well that at the end of the year, you do not have any issues of looking back, reviewing the transactions, and then spending additional time and efforts. So to be able to comply with it easily, so you prepare from now onwards. Most of the group entities or groups, they're actually conducting mock corporate taxes now for 2021, 2022, and 23. As if the corporate tax is applicable to them, what would be the effect and what are the changes that you need to look at for the previous years? Once you know all these, so preparing for future becomes easy. So this can also be done by us if you want. So various deduction limits are there, so you need to look at them. What will be applicable to you, what will not be applicable to you, and your systems also you need to relook at them. Whether your system is capable enough to handle the requirements or changes that are required for compliance. If you have any businesses outside UAE, so non-resident companies are there, so you need to look at the taxability of them in UAE itself. You review your legal transactions, legal documents and contracts with your customers, with your suppliers, and make sure that they are in line. If you have a team of accountants or finance team, so make sure that you have training and they're also aware of the changes that are expected while entering the transactions and taking decisions. So these are the few things that you need to look at to be able to prepare and be ready to implement the corporate taxes. So this is what it is with respect to the corporate tax, which is mentioned in the law and FAQs. And we believe that we provided the information that is required and we made some value addition to your understanding of corporate tax.